Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us in this webinar. My name is Carlos Hernandez. I'm International Sales Coordinator at Mako Solar. And we are today with Camilo Rincon from Fronius. Camilo, welcome. Thank you for joining us in this webinar.
Hi, Carlos, and hi to all of you guys that join us in this webinar. It's really a pleasure to be here with you, sharing some information about our company and also about our new partner, Mako, who can deliver
Great,
all of
Camilo.
our. But sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
thanks to you. No, thanks to you. Thank you for being here with us. And as Camilo said, this is a webinar, first of two webinars. We are launching Mako Solar as a new Fronius distributor for the Caribbean. This is a webinar to introduce you to the products, to the inverters that Fronius has for your market, and in this way also get you to know Mako. If you don't know Mako, what we do and how we are as a company. So I'm gonna start with a small presentation of Mako, just a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead with Camilo so he can share with us all the inverters and all the solutions that Fronius has for the Caribbean. So we are really glad to be working this market with Fronius, and of course giving the best service and the best quality of equipment for all the installers in the region. So I'm gonna start with this Mako presentation. So Mako is a solar distributor for equipment for all Latin America. Our customers are basically installers, developers, EPCs, and other distributors in the region. And basically, it's very important to explain that Mako is not a developer or an installer or an EPC. We are just a distributor that sells the equipment to professionals in the solar field. In that way, Mako is a company that is almost 100 years old. We were founded in 1922. We have more than 40,000 B2B customers, more than 700 employees, and 7 commercial divisions, okay? So Mako is not only a solar company, but we are a group, is Mako Group, that is a big wholesale distribution company that works in very different markets and places around Latin America. Uh, why work with us? And this is very important. First of all, because we answer your requirements in less than 24 hours. We have a commercial team that is specialized and that is completely available for replying your requirements really, really fast with the best quality and with the best prices. Second thing, we are the preferred distributor in 20 LATAM countries. I'm going to show you the map in a few minutes, and then you can see why we are selling in all these 20 countries. Third, and not less important, is that we sell all the main equipment needed for an installation. We don't sell only modules or only inverters. We sell modules, inverters, racking, BOS, basically all the major and the main equipment you need for your installations. And finally, we have really good logistics, and we can have tailor-made logistics for your project. So we can sell Xworks, FOB, CIF, and we can reach basically all Latin America and all the Caribbean. In that way, this is our map, this is our location, and this is our strategic location in the region. So we have a main warehouse for Latin America that is our main hub in Panama, in Colón. Then also we have a warehouse in Miami. This warehouse in Miami is like a secondary warehouse. We ship from here racking and inverters, but it's not our main warehouse. Our main warehouse is in Panama, where we keep basically the main inventory of everything we sell. We also have in Puerto Rico a local warehouse, and also local warehouses in Colombia, more than 12 warehouses inside Colombia. So right now we have 15 warehouses all over Latin America and the Caribbean. And as I told you, we can reach more than 20 countries in the region, and especially all the Caribbean from Panama and from Miami. That is really easy. So it's cheap to or economic to ship from these places, and we have really good frequency in the shippings. So this is Meiko, really fast and really short. I'm gonna give the presentation to Camilo, and just to let you know, please, if you have any question, any doubt, you can write it in the chat box or in the Q&A box also, and then we can answer these questions with Camilo at the end of the presentation. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Please, Camilo, go ahead. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Carlos. A really nice presentation about our new partner for the Caribbean. I hope you can find all the devices with them. And if you have any question about this webinar or any general question, you can contact us, you can contact Macon, and we will try to solve any of your requirements. Yeah, well, to start this webinar, we are going to talk about our products, our solution that are available for the Caribbean. But before I start this webinar, I always want to take a few minutes to present myself and to present Fronius. My name is Camilo Rincon. I've been working for Fronius since 3 years now, and I'm the responsible for the Colombian market and also for the Caribbean market. So as I said before, any question that you have, please contact me and we will do the best to answer your questions. For those who are not familiar with Fronius, I want to take these few minutes to present my company. Something that is very special, Fronius is a company that was that started operations in 1985, 45, sorry. So it means it's 75 years ago. Something very important about this big company is that still is in a family ownership. What it means is all our resources, economical resources, investment are from our side. We don't depend on the market. We don't depend on the banking. We know the problems in the market in globally terms, but we are covered. That's why we can say and we can assure that Fronius is a company with big stability and that can perform very well over the future. Our current CEO is Elizabeth, the person that you see in the right side. He is the granddaughter of our founder. He was Gunther Fronius, who started this company, as I say, in the 1945. This company started in Pettenbach. Pettenbach is a small town in Austria. And from the beginning till today, we produce all our inverters or our products as are developed in this country. So it means we don't have factories in another part of the world, in China, in the United States, or whenever other place. And we can export from here to all over the country. We use these channels like Mexico that can deliver in any place in the world. In our company, we have 3 business units. The first one is a charging division, who was the first one in Fronius. Then 5 years later, it started the welding business unit. You may have seen these machines that weld materials in the car assembly, where we are part of these processes within the welding division. We have also participated in the aerospace industry. Last year, we were part of the launch of the Space Falcon 9 with Elon Musk, and Fronius was part of this welding process of the rocket. And the most important for us, the solar energy division, that one started 30 years ago, 1992, and from the beginning, we have reached these impressive numbers. We have sold more than 2 million inverters all around the world. Something that is very important is our company in solar division. We don't have these big farms, so all our products are dedicated for the solar renewable industry, but specifically in the residential and commercial sectors. Our 3 more important columns are processors are these one that I want to show you. All of our products pass through a rigorous control process, so we can ensure that you will receive the maximum precision product in all our divisions. And talking about this, I want to show you some important numbers about the Caribbean. We are talking about this market, so I want to show you this image. We have sold more than 3,000 inverters right now, and in our records, we can find more than 1,000 solar PV systems in SolarWeb. SolarWeb, as we are going to see in a few slides later, is our software when we can see and monitoring all the devices that are installed. Good. All these points that you see on yellow are installations in the Caribbean. So as you see, we have already many of these inverters located and connected all around the Caribbean. Good. Let's talk about some residential installations and our solutions. One important thing to consider in these residential solutions is that the inverter is the heart of the system, but now we can connect all other devices. For example, we see now the e-mobility, the heating, the cooling, and we can connect through our very intelligent inverter of these solutions. So I want to show you this series of inverters that we have for this residential series. The first one, the Primo. So depends of your country, depends of your grid connections, we have different types of inverter or power range. For the UL market, which is these countries that use 60 Hertz in the installations, we have inverters from 3.8 kilowatts to 15 kilowatts. And for those countries that use 50 Hertz in the grid connections, we have 3 kilowatts inverter till 8.2 kilowatts inverters. One very important thing to consider here is I know that some countries, like Dominican Republic and some other in the Caribbean, use between phase and neutral 110 volts. So in those countries, we need to use two phases to connect the inverter, but we are allowed to connect in that way. And the inverter that you see in the right side is the Gen 24 inverter. This is our new device. It's an hybrid inverter that I want to show you later on. So this is the power range of our Primo inverters in the UL and RAW. What is RAW is, as we know, inverters for the rest of the world in 50 Hertz. So all these kind of inverters, you can find it with Mako. We have two different sizes of these Primo inverters. The smaller one from 3.8 kilowatts till 8.2 kilowatts, and a bigger size from 10 kilowatts to 15 kilowatts. Good, as I told you before, we have the new launch of our inverters. This is the hybrid inverter, the Gen 24. It was presented last year in Intersolar and have won two very nice prizes in 2020 and this year in Intersolar. It was considered the best inverter because all these characteristics that I want to show you in the next video. Good. Good. So this is our latest inverter, the Gen 24 Plus. It's an hybrid inverter. We have these solutions in monophasic or single phase and also three-phase inverters. Right now, the one that is available is the single phase. So I want to show you more about this inverter. It's also called Primo. Primo is our reference for the single phase inverter. Also, please keep in mind for those countries that use 110 volts, is needed two phases to connect inverter. All of these devices use two MPPTs, so we have the option to connect to different sides of any single roof. And also it have a battery input. Right now we have a compatibility with BYD high voltage batteries, but later on we will have also the compatibility with another providers. So in this Primo Gen 24 Plus, we can have a power range from 3 kilowatts till 6 kilowatts. And something that is very unique with this inverter is a unique characteristic that we call PV point. And what it means, all these hybrid inverters are able to connect to the grid. It can export to the grid, but also can work without the grid. This is normal in a hybrid inverter, but the unique characteristic about this one is that even outside the grid or in a blackout and without a battery, it can continue works. And how can this happen? Well, let's see this schematic of a normal installation. So please keep in mind that we are using this as an example. So we have a series of modules in our roof. This is a normal residential installation, I would say. So we have panels in the roof. Then we connect to our inverter, our Gen 24 hybrid. We have these household consumers, or it can be also a small commercial site. And the system is connected to the grid. If the grid fails, if we have a blackout or something happens with the grid, we also know the anti-islanding program in the inverter doesn't allow to the system to inject to the grid. But this inverter has a second circuit, a different circuit from we can connect different devices in our house. We can connect a critical loads to this point, and from the power that is producing in the modules, we can connect these devices like a laptop or a small fridge or something that is needed in the installation, and the inverter can continue delivering some power. So we can configure this inverter in two different voltage range, from 110 volts or 220 volts. I know some consumptions in the residential area are in 110 volts, but also some of them in 220 volts. So it depends on the country. We can also set up the conditions to the inverter. If, for example, we set 110 volts in the output, we can use 1.8 kilowatts in this PV point. And if we choose 220 volts, we can use up to 3.8 kilowatts power to connect any consumption in this PV point. Also, you can see here a battery storage optional. This is just an option. If you want, you can also connect some batteries, and it makes even better the connection of this PV point, because of course, if there is not sun, you cannot use the PV point, but in the night, we can also use the battery if it's connected. We also have the normal operation of the system, not using the PV point, but connecting the battery to fulfill the requirements in the household. So this is, there are in the inverter, we have two different options for using in the off-grid system, the inverter. Good, so let's move to our commercial solution for our biggest inverters. We have four different inverter in this area, in the commercial and industrial. We have the Simo, the Eco, and the New Tauro. This New Tauro is also a new inverter that is been launching during this year and is already ready for all your countries. So the Simo and the Eco are our snap inverters for the commercial sector. In the Simo, same as in the Primo, depends on your country, you can have different power range or sizes in the output. In those countries for 50 hertz, or as we call ROW, we have this three-phase inverter from 3 kilowatts to 20 kilowatts. And if you see, the voltage is from 380 to 400 volts. In the 60 hertz market, or in the UL market, we have these three phases inverter from 10 kilowatts up to 24 kilowatts. And we have two different voltage for these inverters, 280 and 480. So also depends on your requirement. You can choose inverter with an output of 220 volts or 480. The inverter for this voltage in the AC side are CMO from 10, 12, and 50 kilowatts, and those inverters for 480 volts are from 50 kilowatts to 24 kilowatts. We also have this Eco inverter from 25 and 27 kilowatts. It's a very economical inverter. It only has 1 MPPT, but for these commercial and large industry projects are a very, very nice and good option, because as the name implies, it's very, very cheap. So also keep in mind this inverter for your projects. Good. So in this slide, you also have the information that I just mentioned before for these inverters with voltage from 208 to 220 or 240. We have these three series, the CMO 10, CMO 12, and CMO 15. This CMO 15 is the only one with 1 MPPT. The rest of the inverters is 2 MPPTs. And in 480, we have inverters from 15 kilowatts till 24 kilowatts. And also we have this power range for the CMO inverters in 50 hertz. I'm sorry, good. So these Fronius Eco are meant to be a very nice inverter for medium and large scale system. It's a very light inverter, so the weight of this inverter is no more than 25 kilowatts. It's very kilograms, sorry. It's very easy to put it and locate it in almost every place, and it's very economical inverter. That was, we mentioned that it was an inverter meant to be for medium and large scale systems. And our new inverter, the Fronius Tauro, is a very hard and nice inverter. So I want to show you some of the characteristics in the next video. So we have this Tauro in different power classes, 50 kilowatts and also 100 kilowatts with 1 MPPT. This is the Tauro Eco version, but we also have the Tauro series with 3 MPPTs and 50 kilowatts. Something that is very unique of this inverter is that we can configure the inverter according to the needs in the installation. So for example, we can have direct installation or pre-combined installation. This is to distinguish between decentralized and centralized typology of designs. So for example, if we want to install a project and to put the inverter very close to the modules, we can use the decentralized system with the Tauro option D. In this option, we have this direct connection to the inverter with these MC4 plugs and with this different number of connection. So for instance, in the Echo 50 kilowatts, we have 14 strings input, and for Tauro 100, we have 22 strings. All of these strings can be monitored in our system individually. So we see here that in the DC connection of the inverter, we can connect directly our cabling from the DC side with MC4 directly to the inverter. This inverter has a ISC certification. This is the European certification, and we are allowing this inverter for all the markets in Colombia. In the Caribbean, sorry. Also, we have the option to use this Tauro inverter for central design, this type of typology, when we can collect and connect all the inverters very close, maybe in one single roof of inverters. And in this way, the best option to save a lot of money in the BOS of the system is to reduce the amount of DC cabling. We know that is something very expensive in most of the cases. So what we are doing with this P version of the Tauro is to allow the connection of the DC side cabling up to 95 millimeters. So you see here the difference. We now don't have here a single connection, but we can enter to the inverter with a bigger cabling, which reduce the losses in the transport, but also reduce cost in the BOS due to this cabling. Good. Something that is very characteristic of all of our inverter is the simple connection, is the simple way to connect and the commissioning the inverter. And it happens in all of our inverter, in, of course, different ways between the Snap inverter, the new Tauro, and the hybrid. But I want to show you this video when we can see how easy it is to install a Snap inverter. So as you see in the last video, to start the operation of the inverter is very simple. We just need to locate the wall bracket and then close the electronic side of the inverter, open the switch, the DC switch, and that's it. After we connect DC and AC cabling, the inverter will start the synchronization of the grid, and then it start producing energy. So it's very simple, it's very easy, it doesn't take a lot of time. And also the commissioning and the communication to our to internet, it only needs a couple of steps and it's very fast and easy to do it. We are going to explain this a little bit more in our next webinar. So from now, I invite you to register to the next webinar where we are going to show a little bit more about this monitoring system, about our solar web system, and we will go through this step with more details. Good, so all above inverter has an environmental protection of IP65 or NEMA 4X, which allows you to locate the inverter outside and is protected from heavy rains or big storms. It is also possible to locate our inverters in an altitude up to 3,000 meters in the CMO and 4,000 meters in the Primo inverter. Of course, please do install the inverter in a room because it can be a little bit noisy, similar to a fan operation. Also, please don't install the inverter in a farm. We may have some problems with animals. And be careful with very dusty places. It can block the fans inside the inverter. So these are only the recommendation, but basically we can locate our inverter basically in all the places. The inverter is suitable for a vertical or any kind of installation in an horizontal or of course in an inclined surface. This is something that also is unique for our brand, and no, most of the inverters in the market can do it like we do with the mounting position. For the Tauro, it's exactly the same. This Tauro inverter has an extra environmental protection that allows us to connect directly to the sun. We can ensure a correct operation in a temperature about 50 degrees. So it's very impressive, the protection that this inverter has. Also with environmental protection on IP65. Regarding the safety distances for the Tauro, we only need 15 centimeters to locate an inverter side to side in any direction. And for the snap inverter, it is only needed 10 centimeters to put the inverter side to side. And in the upper side, from where the high temperature is going out, we only need 15 centimeters. So it's very easy to find a place where we can put the inverters. And regarding ambiental temperature, we only need, it's allowed to install the inverter up to 55 Celsius degrees. And this is allowed because we have a very nice cooling system. It is called active cooling. So it's our ventilation concept. Is the higher protection system for warm conditions like those that are in the Caribbean. All of our inverters, from the smaller one to the new Tauro, has fans to protect the device from the extreme temperature condition in the environment. The ventilation is going from one of the sides of the inverter and go through all the inverter and go down from the upper side. And it's important also to let you know that it's never a direct contact between the air and the electronics inside the inverter. So as we can see in this picture, there is a way behind the electronic side in where the inverter crosses the air crosses the device, do their job, but never gets in contact with the inside part of the inverters. Additionally, we also have different fans inside the inverter, and the idea of this inverter, of this fan inside the inverter, is to avoid individual hotspot in the electronics. So in this way, we can ensure the inverter is always operating in the right temperature, and of course, it gives us a long time life for the inverter. Good, and due to this concept, we can also install the inverter very close to each other. That is not allowed in the natural cooling system that are in our competitors. This natural cooling system and the difference between our inverters is in the active cooling, we are using fans to control the temperature inside the inverter. In the natural cooling concept, it is only rely on the fabric, on the materials of the inverter, but it's never a real control of the temperature inside those devices. Good. Another nice characteristic about Fronius is the flexibility that we have to connect different modules with inverters. So it's not needed to connect an equal number of modules in every MPPT of the inverter. We can connect a few in one of those and a lot or a different amount in the second one. And also very important characteristic, we can oversizing the inverter up to 150%. What it means, we can, for example, have an inverter with 10 kilowatts, and in the DC side, we can connect 15 kilowatts with the intention to collect or to have the maximum amount of energy during the operation of the inverter. We also know the modules has a degradation, but we keep in the safe side using this oversizing in the inverter. It's allowed up to 150% without losing warranty, without losing the lifetime of the inverter. So we also certify that this kind of connections can be done. We have the certification for that. If you need it, just let us know. We can share it with you. Good. We also have algorithm inside all of our inverter. It's called Dynamic Peak Manager. It allows to not lose amount of energy when we have a different shade roof. But I want you to see this video when we can explain it a little bit more. So all the inverters around the world can also have this MPP tracker. The difference between that technology and what we do with our dynamic peak manager is when we have this shade, the shape of this graphic change. We can be, for example, at the start of the day without any shape, this kind of blue shape, but it can change to the red or the black. When it happens, the inverter is always looking for the best new point to generate to have a lot of or more energy. And this is what we see here with this local MPP or the global MPP. If we see here in this picture, in this graph, we can have a few more watts, but if we add those small watts at the end of the day, we are going to have more energy. And this peak manager is free, is inside all of our inverters. Very important also the safe operation of our devices. All of them before to start the operation and look for the specific conditions. When everything is okay, it start the operation. We do have these AFCI requirements. This is only needed for the United States market, but we have this for all our inverters because it's an extra safety feature. This feature can detect the arc inside the DC side. So when it happens, the inverter closes the operation and protect the electronics and of course protects all the installation. Same as the RCMU. Long time ago, like 10 years ago, the inverter has a transformer inside. Now all is electronic, but with the transformer, we have a separation between the different sides. Now this is do it with this RCMU unit. And when we have inverse current coming to the inverter protects itself and cools the operation. So it also protects all the installations. Inside the inverter, we can also put our SPD. We have this space in the right side where we also have this DIN rail. We can locate two SPD. Remember that we need one per MPP. So if in the installation are two MPP in use, you need two SPDs. These SPDs can be type 2 or type 1 plus 2. The only important thing to remember when we are selecting the SPD is this size. So please keep in mind those numbers so you are not connecting one SPD that is not allowed, because if we do that, we can damage the inverter if it's not closed correctly. So this is the allowed size. These are some of the brands that has these sizes, but if in the market there is another brand, you can also use it. But as I said, please keep in mind the maximum dimensions of the SPD. So we see here an example of the connection of the SPD. Something also that is very important is that we can connect the SPD to the display of the inverter. In case of the SPD has a damage or have been active, this connection will send a message to your cell phone or to your email, so you know that the SPD has already been started or has been operated. So you need to change the SPD to again protect the installation. In some of our inverters, we also can put fuses inside them. So this is allowed for the bigger inverters. In the Primo references, it can be put inside the inverter from 15 kilowatts, from 8.2 kilowatts, and in the Simo from 15 kilowatts to the biggest ones. In the Tauro, this is ready and is installed in all the inverters. Also, please keep in mind, we also only have the fuse holder. You need to put the fuse itself inside and the inverter. So this has only these metallic bolts, but you need to remove it and put the fuse inside the fuse holder. The normal size of the fuses are the needed 10 millimeter for 38 millimeters. Good. We also have this weather station where we can connect different sensors. We do have two different options to connect the weather station. One can be with a car and another one with a box. The difference is where you want to put the sensor. So for example, if the sensors are very close to the inverter, less than 20 meters, you only need to use this car and it can be put inside the inverter. But if the sensors are going to be a little bit farther than 20 meters, you need the box. The connection and all the commissioning for the weather station is exactly the same. You just keep in mind the distance between where you want to have the sensor and where is the inverter. So we have sensor for radiation, temperature in the module, and ambient temperature. We also have an additional point where you can connect speed of the wind, or also you can have a humidity sensor. This is up to connect whatever measure you need. Good. Also, as I said before, we are going to have a specific webinar next week when we are going to talk about the monitoring of the devices and also the solar web. But I want to show you a little bit about this system. So we can have the monitoring of the devices in the solar web. This is an online software, it's for free. Even the premium version is for free in all Latin America and the Caribbean. So please sign in to the software and you can see a couple of demo projects where all of the characteristics of SolarWare can be seen. So we have a few more minutes, so I will leave these slides for the next webinar. There are some other things that I want you to show you. Please remember that we will have this next webinar next week, so please register and we will talk about all these smart meter, no fitting options, this energy flow management that is very interesting. So I just let you know this next webinar and when we are going to see this solar web in a real situation. Good, I also want to show you this online tool. This is called Solar Configurator. It helps you to design your installation. So with this software that is also for free, you can see what is the best possible connection for your inverter using different modules. We have hundreds of different module companies and all the modules for those companies. So you can select, for example, Trina, and then you see with this Trina Vertex, what is the best option to connect modules in serial or parallel, choosing different inverters. And you also have the specification for string fuses, or if you need an extra connection or wherever. So please look for this Fronius Solar Configurator. As I say, it's for free. It's very easy to design your projects using our configurator. Good. We also have some solution for off-grid systems. We actually have two options, the AC-DC connection and also the possibility to connect the inverters with a generator. It could be a diesel, gas, a micro turbine. The first solution is with the AC-DC connection. So in this solution, we use a charger inverter, for example, and if you may recognize this brand is Victron. So we have an alliance with this brand. We can connect both inverters, the charger inverter, Victron, and our inverters. This Victron device provides us the voltage and the frequency as a reference, so we can work in an off-grid operation, reducing a lot the amount of battery that is needed, because all of these daylight situation where we will need the battery is doing by our inverters. So it's a very nice option. And also we have this genset option of connection in an off-grid solution. So also I want you to see this video and then I will explain a little bit more about these kind of solutions. So as you see in this video, the intention of this system is to reduce the consumption of different fuels, and it can be connected very easily to different genset. The genset can also operate as a backup of the grid, or any operation that are just rely on a genset. You also can save a lot of fuel using solar installations. With Fronius, you just need to connect directly in the AC side to the main board, and that's it. It's really easy, the connection. We may need a extra controller, but it depends of the project. So if you have a possible location or possible project with this genset, just contact us and we can help you with the design of these solutions. Good. I also want to show you our apps. We know in this world everything works in the cell phone, so we also have different apps that help you with the commissioning and after or technical requirements, or also the monitoring. All of these apps are ready to be downloaded in your cell phone. It doesn't matter if you are using iPhone or Android. So the first one is the Solar Star. With this app, you can do the commissioning to just start the inverter, start the app, and you follow the steps where it guides you through all the process. The second one, the Solar Web, is the monitoring app. So of course, with this app, you can monitoring and supervising all your installations. And the last one, but very important, the Solar SOS. This is a service app. So all these state codes that are on our inverter, if you have any doubt or what it means or what can it be solved, so you just look for the state code in the app, and it shows you step by step what you should look in your installation or what you should do. Also, you can contact directly our technical group of support. So if you are in the installation and you see that there is not a solution for your case, you can contact directly our technical staff using the app. Also for the Caribbean, we have a number. The number right now is in Colombia, but you can contact us and we can help you with your requirements, your technical requirements. So why to choose Fronius? Well, I hope you have a lot of information in these slides, but something that I also want to emphasize is that our quality in all of our inverters, also these different solutions that we have with our monitoring system, with our smart meter, very important also, it's a family-owned business, so we can ensure that we will have a lot of time more in the market. We will be here for a long time. We are not going to disappear, and we can support you for the long time of your PV project. We have this support, we have different email contacts, we have this app, we have this hotline number, so you can contact us in case of any service. And also with the help of Mako, our nice partner, our new distributor, if you need a spare part, they can deliver the spare part very easily from one of their warehouse directly to your project. Last but not least, I want to show you all these tests that are performed in any of our inverter before it leaves our factory. And also, but very important as well, the future of Fronius. We are working right now not just only with inverters and producing this electricity, but we are also working on different solutions with thermal solution, and the new business unit in Fronius, the hydrogen. This is something that is going to be very well known in the future, and we are the first, one of the first companies that are working with these hydrogen solutions. So hopefully we can see the next installation with hydrogen in one of your countries. If you have any question or you want to know a little bit more about this Sol Hub solution, please also contact us. We can provide you with some additional information or something that you need if you are interested in these hydrogen solutions. This installation is actually in Austria, so all the employees of Fronius are, or some of the employees in Fronius are using hydrogen cars, and they just come here and they charge the car and then they go to work. So it's very nice. This is right now an industrial solution, but hopefully in the close future, it can have this also for small solutions. Good. Now, really, last but not least, I want to show you some ways to find more information. We have a lot of different videos in YouTube. We have a lot of webinars, solutions in the web. In our website, you can find also the manuals and some tips of the installation. So please, also if you have any questions, just let us know. Also, as I say, in YouTube, we have different channels in different languages where you can find a lot of Fronius information. And that's it from my side. Thank you. Thank you really for being present in this webinar. Carlos, I don't know if we have some questions that you want to ask so we can talk about these questions with all the participants.
Thank you, Camilo. Well, I think we are running out of time. So if you want, we can keep these questions for the next webinar next Thursday, same time. So we're going to be sending you emails, and you're gonna be able to register for the next webinar. So if you want, Camilo, we can close the webinar right now, and then for the next one, we can share a few questions with everyone. Okay?
Perfect. Perfect. Good.
I just want to share with you our contact. So here, these are all my phone number, my email address. So as I told you, I'm Carlos Hernandez, International Sales Coordinator. And also you can find Miguel, that I think everyone here knows Miguel. Miguel is our commercial engineer. And here is his data, so his phone, his email address. If you have any project, any quotation that you are needing, please let us know via email, via WhatsApp, reach out via our for example, our page, our web page. And we'll be really interested in helping you out and giving you a quote or whatever you need for your projects. Camilo, thank you so much for this webinar. It was very interesting. And yeah, next week, next Thursday, we will be really glad to be part of this second part of the webinar.